I'm doing another video on this time on Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, and yeah, let's get into it. So he was born September 15th, 1984. He is a Virgo sun, Capricorn ascendant, and a Taurus moon. So he is triple Earth. And what I've been noticing is that when I did one on Meghan Markle, which is his wife, she actually, some of her placements in her chart matches some of his placements in his chart. And I will probably do a composite if I have time, just to see exactly what will transpire over the next 6 months for them living in America, because it's different. It's really different. And even though he is not as much in the spotlight, he's basically still in the spotlight, whether he was back home in England or if he is here in America. He's still attracting attention because of the things that stem from the so-called controversy. Okay, so honestly, controversy, which I mean about him marrying a biracial woman, and just, him breaking free, both of them breaking free from the monarchy and wanting to go independent. Now, that has been done in his family before, but it seems like more attention has been drawn. And I think too, when he was younger, he was looked upon as like the kid, and people kind of lost sight that he's a grown man now and he has his own way of life. Honestly, looking at his chart, I can say that he honestly was not built for that life, in a sense. Like, it was given to him, but he really is the type that needs to be free. If you even look at his career before, when he joined the military, well, they call it the armed services, I think, over there. I mean, he was basically trying to be independent then. And I honestly think he got into this marriage as a way to even be able to get out of that structure and rule. But it's very interesting too, because his ascendant is Capricorn, and Capricorns is all about structure, rules, and business life. So let's look at it here. As many people, and I think I'm just going to do a retrograde period on the outer planets, because they're in Capricorn and they're affecting everybody's chart placement that has Capricorn in it, in whatever house there is. And I did a couple readings so far, and it's been showing from what's been going on in the news with them that this Capricorn retrograde back into Capricorn has really been heavy. And this is the time where they said this is your last few months to review and redo and kind of go back over things before going forward when it goes back into Aquarius. So, as we can see, his Pluto, let me see if I can scroll in here. There we go. Jupiter, Pluto, the moon right now, because I have this as August 2nd, and his Saturn are transiting retrograde in, the moon is not retrograde, but the other planets are retrograding in his first house, which is his ascendant as well. And this is all about, ascendant is about who you are, your reflection, what you're about. And with that being said, there's been some book that came out that's been talking about him breaking away, and some situations going on with him and his grandma, who is the queen. And I thought that was very interesting, because this is reflecting that he is trying to break away. He is trying to establish his own institution for itself. And I'm meaning institution is his own brand, his own way, where he has more control over what goes on in his life. And it's going to be met with challenges right now because all these planets are in retrograde. Now, had it been in Capricorn and non-retrograde, which was like last year, as things you've seen that they were dealing with last year was easier to transition. Now, because they are here, there's a lot of things that are going on globally, and a lot of those influences are dealing with Saturn and Pluto conjunctions. There's 3 of them this year. There's going to be a lot of bouncing back and forth, reset, redo, and everything's going to get either kind of misconstrued as well. And so right now, the only thing I'm not suggesting, but the only thing I could see is that he has to focus more his natal planets, outer planets like Jupiter, Neptune, even Mars and Uranus. Uranus is in Sagittarius. Very interesting. So he's always has this rebel type of, like a wild horse in the pastures. Not even the pastures, running through the field. Like that song by America, A Horse with No Name. It's kind of like that energy where you're just going to. He has to be free, and it is showing more now because let's see where Uranus is transiting. It's actually transiting here in his 6th. Aw, it's cut. No, it's not cut off. His 3rd and 4th house. Is going into his 3rd and 4th house. So let's see. Definitely deal with family. Uranus and Taurus. Uranus and Taurus is going to restructure in a wild way your home life if you're having it transit in your 4th house, which it will be soon. But right now it's transiting still transiting from his 3rd. What that all means is that the issues he's having with communication, because Uranus is not retrograde yet, but the way he's communicating, things that he is trying to get done, like publishing, not even publishing, but writing, being a public speaker, 3rd house, that should have been, had the world been normal, it would have went successfully for them to just come here and start their careers right away into their new ventures. However, because of the pandemic and the world going on a timeout, it's affecting people's progression. Definitely. And it's affecting theirs too. So, every man and woman is not alone. It's affecting everyone in some kind of form or capacity, and for him it's affecting his 3rd house, and eventually it will affect the 4th house, because as far as communication, and that will be his income, or setup fees going into the home, how he's going to maintain the home, his family, and so forth. He also has, let's see, on his descendant, he also has Cancer. Now his mom was a Cancer, and this explains why he has so much passionate, even though those houses are empty, they don't have major planets in it. This is why he feels such a connection, and even how he felt about the way his mom had transitioned, and he'll forever have her in his heart. Even though 7th house deals with relationships and partnerships, he's going to be really attracted to women who are strong and are like that. And then also too, with him having his sun sign in Virgo, and Meghan Markle's Venus is in Virgo. There you go. So she also has some placements too with her Uranus, I believe, in the fifth house. So that was displaying the real quick whirlwind type like romance, and they got married very quickly versus a long drawn out courtship. His 12th 11th house, which deals with the image, people, they see him as, and he got Mars in there, they see him as a very rebellious type of person, and in a sense it's not necessarily him being rebellious, it's just he wants to go to the beat of his own drum. And at this point, who could blame him? Who could blame anybody who wants to go to their beat of their own drum? Now, natively, he has Sun, that you see I already mentioned before, Virgo, Mercury in Virgo, and he also has Venus in Libra, which is cool because he's all about balancing. He's more of in the relationship, the balancer, the peaceful guy. You could tell like he was probably the one who was building the bridge between his wife and his family, and if there was any type of disharmony, he was the buffering person in between, as you can see. And that's in his, let me check, Venus and Libra, 17 degrees, almost near his ninth house, which has a lot to do with long distance, international, and travel, publishing, stuff like that. But it's mostly towards it's still in his 8th house realm, as you can see, where his Sun and his Mercury is at, which is interesting because he's the type that will, with him having that Libra though and Venus, and it's in his 8th house, he'll more likely try to keep the lid on secrets for the most part, because 8th house is about secrets. It's about other things too, death, and about other stuff, taxes, money, income. But him having that Sun in the 8th house is a good placement because the Sun will give like a blessing in that house. There's also this thing about if you have a Sun in the 8th house too, you're often invisible. And I could see that point when it comes to with his brother. His brother was born before him, of course, but his brother is looked more in a different light than he is. And there you go, that Sun in the 8th house shows that. The communication, Mercury in the 8th house, shows that as well. So it could be a miscommunication. But because it's Virgo, and it's a Virgo in a 8th house, the 8th house is usually Scorpio placement. Hopefully I'm not confusing y'all with this. But he is a perfectionist in the sense of trying to keep things afloat, keep things from not blowing the lid. So let's go into his Saturn. His Saturn natally and Pluto, well, both of them are in his 9th house. So he's going to transform himself through a distance. That's why he's over here. Pluto natally, he's trying to transform his life. And with that Pluto transit right now in Capricorn, in his Pluto is in Scorpio. Is he the Pluto or Scorpio generation? Yep. It's intense. It's going to be intense. Saturn is in Scorpio. It's in his 9th house. Very interesting. Saturn is about lessons, hard lessons. I wonder once he goes through his How old is he? 84. 35. So he's just kind of got out of his what do you call it? The Saturn return. But with that being said, I wonder when he goes into his next opposition, which comes at 40, will he look back and kind of reflect on, did he make the right choice leaving the monarchy and doing his own thing? Honestly, just looking, he has moon in the 4th house natively too, and his north node is in Gemini. Wow. So he is basically having a nodal return as well, because Gemini right now, north node. But he's at 0 degrees. So it already happened for him, as far as I think with this, as soon as that north node hit, you notice like all this stuff, which I think the north node came earlier this year. So right when all that stuff was happening, they were like moving and leaving and then trying to do things behind the scenes to get things popping for them in front of the scenes. And this all shows Venus is still in Gemini, transiting his 6th house, which is work. So there is a hidden blessing in there that he's still being supported by his family. And with that Venus being a feminine side versus like a Mercury or a Mars, which is a male sign, he's being supported by his grandmother. And I just saw an article that said that his grandmother said that they can always come back to them, to the royal family. Basically, they can come back and resume. You know how people quit their job and they come back? Some people do. Well, she's giving them that open door option from what I saw in that article. Now, it could be true, could not be true, could be, but whoever published it was like a main media that published it. So maybe, this is a consideration. Will he take it though? Not so sure. And that will also have to be with how his wife wants to take it. And as I go into her chart, she's going to be going through some transits at the moment. And I will definitely I think I'm going to do another part 3, like on both of them together. He's transforming in his 1st house ascendant of trying to find his own identity away from his family. That 1st house is on the opposite. So that 7th house, partnership, Cancer, his mom. It's, to me, I'm just seeing like he's doing like what his mom did. And it's not in a bad way. He just wants to be independent and free and live his best life as himself. I could totally understand that. And he's at that moment in his life where he wants to live by his own terms. So that's all I have for now. I'm going to do some more research and compare their charts together. But I will keep y'all all posted until the next time. Take care.